No bullshit reviews. Octun? Un? I don't know what else I could say. But today we are going to be reviewing the Panther 2, one of my favorite tanks in War Thunder. It honestly is one of the best World War II tanks, and that's not 100% true that it's a World War II tank, but it is one of my favorite. Now, the tank we have in game never actually existed. It is a kind of mold of a couple things that Germany was doing at the time, but it was never fully built the way it is. In real life, the Panther 2 was actually a response to Russian anti-tank weapons being able to go through the side of the normal Panther. Now, Germany released these Panthers without side skirts when they first started producing them, and the Russian PTRS and similar-esque weapons could go through the side with little to no problem. So Germany came up with a bigger, thicker chassis with better armor, and they were going to release it as the Panther 2. But they also found out in that same time that if they just put side skirts or skirts in, I think that's how you say it, on the Panther, the normal Panthers that they were making, that they would stop the anti-tank rounds in their tracks, and they didn't have to make a full new production tank to do this. So it has a small term on it, which is a newer Panther turret, similar to the one on the Panther F, and it houses a 88 long KWK, what's that, 44? Long KWK 44 inside the turret. So let's talk about the Panther 2 in War Thunder. So the armor on the Panther 2 in War Thunder is pretty strong. It boasts a 100mm angled front plate, 60mm side skirts, and 120 at the face of the turret. Now the turret isn't actually angled at all. I think it's back maybe like an 86 degree instead of a 90 or something like that. But it can't really stop shells from the front. The upper front plate, however, does bounce things pretty periodically, and its overall armor is pretty decent for most of the tanks you see in War Thunder. If you get a full 6-7 down tier, for example, tanks only can go through the front of your turret if you're not side on. That being said, it's not the strongest thing on this tank. It is a medium tank, but a lot of other things help make this tank work really, really well on the battlefield if you know what you're doing. And this is where we get to the strong suit of the Panther 2. Of course, I kind of talked about armor for not that long, maybe a minute, right? Mobility, though, is insane. It is an insane upgrade from the other Panthers. They don't have reverse gears. I mean, they can go reverse about as fast as a heavy tank, maybe less. You know how the Cromwell early tier can't go backwards? It's the same thing with the early Panthers. So once you push into a situation, sometimes you can't get out. The mobility on the Panther 2 fixes this. It's also faster forward, I'm pretty sure, but on top of being faster forward, bigger engine, can move around the battlefield better, also can traverse and whatnot. It has a reverse gear, which is so helpful for a tank like this. It has decent gun depression, so the fact that it can kind of move up to different areas, snipe, it can brawl if it needs to, it can support if it needs to. It really is a jack-of-all-trades tank. It has a nice reload. So the mobility just helps all of this stuff out. The fact that the upper front plate is almost always going to bounce as long as it's not a chemical round being shot at it is really helpful for the mobility, because you can move yourself into these really good spots. You can move on flanks, you can move to sniping spots early on in the map, and you can get out of these spots with pretty ease. You can get out of these spots easily, I should say. Along with the mobility being really good on the Panther 2, let's talk about what makes this tank come together as a whole. It's nothing other than the gun. Long 88. We've seen this on multiple lower tier tanks, such as the Nashorn, and we've seen it on the same tank, the Tiger 2, the Panther 2, things like that. It's a KWK 44. It's a long 88, and it is the surgical weapon of choice for the Germans at this tier. It is fantastic. It will snipe people. It can go from sniping. It can hit weak spots. It's accurate. It has enough filler to blow certain tanks up, or most tanks up, if you get a pen. And it's strong enough to go through the front armor on a lot of vehicles. I mean, even an IS-4M, which is a very, very strong one of the highest armored vehicles you'll see. You can pen with pretty much ease through the driver's hatch. Of course, you have to aim to hit that, but you can do it pretty well. Now, for sniping, this gun doesn't have a lot of drop-off pen loss, and the round still is devastating at far ranges. So you wouldn't have a problem really reaching out and touching anybody up to 2,000 meters in this tank, albeit if you could aim that far. One of the big issues with the gun, though, on this tank is something I wish that they could have removed, but the Panther 2 boasts some night vision. It's not usable in-game. You can see it on top and on front of the driver's hatch. It's early night vision that the Germans developed. I think they made some scopes out of it, and it basically uses like the lunar light, I guess, starlight, to turn it into a night vision type of thing where you can see it. I don't really know too much how the system works, but all I know is in-game, your gun will get caught on it if you are looking around down low, which is pretty interesting, and it kind of does gunk up your gun sometimes when you're trying to get some gun depression or whatnot, depending on that. So that's something that you need to look out for when using this tank, is you can't always get gun depression over the little front left side of your hull because of this night vision device. Other than that, around the rest of the tank, you do get good gun depression, and the gun is fantastic. It's foolproof, and I absolutely love it. So overall, what is the Panther 2? It's a good medium tank. It's fantastic now that it's been dropped to 6.7. I absolutely enjoy every time I play it. I have a blast every time I play this tank. And it used to sit at 7.0, so the 6.7 down tier I didn't think was needed. I think this tank was really good at 7.0, but the fact that it did go down to 6.7 should make it even more of a cornerstone to your 6.7 lineup. You should get it, you should grind it, you should play it, and enjoy it. And it actually is a fantastic learning tool. How many times do I have to say fantastic? It's a great learning tool for the Leopard and some of the other tanks that you're going to get later on in the tech tree. Of course, it doesn't have a stabilizer, but if you can work with this tank, learn how to flank with this tank, use its speed, use its accuracy and its gun to your advantage, when you get a tank that has a stabilizer and has a good gun with less armor, you're more inclined to learn how to play that easier. It's just a very, very good training tool. It's a very good tank. It's great for getting into sniping positions, and I love it. I really do. So, with that being said, I want you guys to let me know what you think about the Panther 2 in the comments section down below. Criticism for the last video, somebody said get more kills, you noob. So this is a 11 kill game in the Panther 2. Also, something I didn't mention in this video yet is it gets smoke grenades or smoke shells, and you get 6 of them. They pop out the top of the turret, they go in front of your tank, and you can use them for a variety of different things. Like right now I'm using them to get away from tanks and get away from the spawn so I don't get shot in the back. You can use them when somebody's in front of you. You can use them to smoke off a spot and move past it. It's just overall a really good tank. It's really useful, and it has a lot going for it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe to that channel if you're new around here, and I will see you guys in the next one.